Good morning everybody and welcome to a new special episode because today I'm answering all the questions that you've been asking me on Instagram, and we're here in the streets of Tokyo just by Shibuya, and this area is absolutely insane for photos. If you like any urban cyberpunk kind of moods, this is the place to go. So why don't we get right into it with the first question, which is from Hamar, which is, what will you say to a beginner street photographer? Beginner street photographer, what would I say? That's a great question. I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, get out there and go shoot. Spend some time in the street, spend some time observing things around you, spend as much time as you can actually with the camera in hand, just walking around. Okay, the light totally changed. Let's try this one. There we go. This is the most important as a street photographer. You want to be able to observe and see all those stories around you, and for that there is no cutting it. You have to be outside in the streets just like I am right now and roam around a lot. Every single one of my friends who is really good at street photography is roaming around and is trying to find the most interesting composition. And if you find a cool place but you don't have the right subjects, come back later. This is the number one tip in street photography, is be on the street. Whew. All right, pictures this. Berlin had a great question, which is, which question would you love to finally answer but didn't ever get asked? The question I would love to answer is, what do you do outside of YouTube and photography? Yeah, that's a good question. And Chris Howe, actually, that I just met today, asked me that question, like, what's your interest outside? It was kind of the first time for us, like, really chatting. And I thought that was a really interesting question. What do you do outside of the main thing you're known for? If you want, I can answer it. I'm gonna answer at the end, actually. So keep the suspense, because we got an even better question from Katan, which is, does traveling with wife, kids makes you feel heavy, like you can't go anywhere? Absolutely not. So when I'm spending time with my kids, or like with my daughter and my wife, I have FOMO because I'm not shooting, and when I'm shooting I have FOMO because they're doing cool things and I want to be with them. My daughter is about 3 years old. It's super fun to spend time with her. I absolutely love it. Traveling with her and with my wife is no issue. We've been doing it from the beginning. Honestly, the biggest mental hurdle when you're traveling or even want to go shoot with your kids is for yourself. It's not your kids. Your kid's gonna be fine. This is you. It's your patience level and how well you're gonna be able to handle it, honestly. But it's easy. Kids love to travel. They discover new things. They have so much to learn from it. So highly recommend it. Now, real important question. Why do you choose Sony other camera brands? Siga Baibe is asking, and Pretty Woman Y is asking, why do you never test Canon? Let's be honest, guys, I've been paid millions of dollars to just shoot Sony all the time. Okay, jokes aside, absolutely not. The reason I chose Sony was back in 2017. I was shooting with a Nikon D750, great camera, and a GH5 for doing the videos, Panasonic GH5. The only issue is that I had 2 sets of lenses. I wanted to travel lighter, so I decided to sell all that and buy an A7R III with a 1635 and a 7200, and that kind of replaced everything else in my gear, and I've been using it ever since. I mean, since then I upgraded my A7R III recently to the A1, which I'll share in another video. Maybe I think there's better camera, but we'll talk about that in another one. So I've literally have been using those cameras, and I had no incentive to use Sony over Canon over whatever. The only reason I went with Sony is they had really good hybrid system where I could shoot photo and video with the same camera and the same lenses. So why not go for that, right? And ever since I got the privilege to actually work with Sony on different campaigns or actually receive their gear in advance, and for that I'm not getting paid to actually test it and make some videos. Again, no strings attached. I can say whatever I want, etc., which is honestly beautiful, and it was kind of a dream of mine to actually work on paid campaigns with them. I did with Xperia, but all the reviews, whenever I'm talking about gear, this is totally just my opinion, and I'm totally agnostic to the brand. If tomorrow Canon is working better for me, I'm gonna go Canon. If Panasonic's working better for me, I'm gonna go Panasonic or Nikon or Fuji or whatever. Honestly, I use every kind of camera, and if you want, guys, I can make more videos with different brands. I'll ask friends if I can borrow their Canon R6 Mark II, for example. There's Taylor that has one. Maybe that could be cool. Are you interested in that? Let me know in the comments right now. Okay, let's take the next question, which is about street photography over there. Okay, next question is from Catherine0211. How do you find cool places for street photography? I think I answered in the previous question, but you gotta get out there and you gotta spend time roaming around in the streets. and that's where you'll find the cool places. You can also check in books, old school books, yep, or you can check on Instagram if there is anything, but the only danger with Instagram is that you're probably gonna end up in the same spot as everyone else, and I highly recommend you to just like Google map some random area and go explore that area. If you're ever in Japan, Tokyo is big enough that you could roam for like years without even knowing everything or discovering all the places. And remember, street photography is also a lot about what's happening when you're there. So yeah, keep roaming. I think that's the most important. Sasha, the Sony shooter, is asking, what does a typical day look like for you? Love what you do, man. Thank you so much, Sasha. So I have a habit of not touching my phone until after I do my routines, brush teeth, etc. I'm gonna drink water and I'm gonna try to do either yoga or my workout and then meditate for about 20 to 30 minutes every single morning. I try to do it, and I have a little bit of flexibility in case I can't do it, which is important, but honestly, as much as possible, I try to do that. And if I can make a list of like 2-3 things I need to do today, then my day is mint, because the moment I touch my phone, I get distracted by everything, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's Messenger, Facebook, Instagram. I get bombarded in all directions and emails, and I get into a reactive mode versus active mode, where I'm actually doing things that will help in the long run versus just reacting to things now. So if I can get done all my like proactive work before 12, I can then get into reactive for the rest of the day, and that's fine with me. But honestly, morning routine is super important for me to center myself, otherwise it just gets split in multiple directions and I don't like it. So if you have a cool morning routine, let me know in the comments, by the way. How come you quit your other career and started photography, and are you self-taught? Why did I start? Why did I quit? Great question. Taylor Jackson made a whole video about it. I'll link it below. Please watch it. I used to be an engineer, worked for 5 years as an engineer. I have a master 2 in engineering, and it was interesting. I got to travel a lot as an engineer, and I loved the traveling part, but I didn't like the engineering part. I didn't like to be in corporate environment. I didn't feel inspired by any one of my colleagues that were older, and I was like, damn, I don't want to be them. And so I stumbled also on the book The 4-Hour Work Week. I decided to learn, brainstorm ideas, and photography had been always in my heart through traveling for telling stories. So I decided, you know what, maybe I'm gonna be a professional photographer. I discovered people made money with it, survived, were able to afford a normal living, and was like, oh, let's try. I have nothing to lose, let's go. And I also started at the same time to learn to code, to build another business, a startup around booking photographers online, basically. So I did a bunch of things at the same time, and that's why I decided to quit, because I wasn't inspired in my day job, and I felt like I could do something else with the 8 hours I was spending at the office that would benefit, at the end of the day, my health and sanity and just enjoyment in life, in the terms that every single one of our lives is our own story. And I feel like we can direct it the way we want it, in to a certain limit. Obviously things happen to us, but those are elements that come into our story that we have to work with. But at the end of the day, we're still the main character, and we have a little bit of control over it. Maybe not everything, but a little bit. Okay, we've got a great question. If I weigh 99 pounds and I eat 1 pound of nacho, am I 1% nacho?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I told them to go look at the video you made about me for my story, because it was great.
All right.
Yeah, I think it answered great.
There's nothing about nachos in it, though.
Where do you get your motivation? Dima is asking also. These guys.
It's
mostly Taylor. I copy all his videos. Okay, let's answer seriously. Okay, so the motivation comes from different aspects, in my opinion. And motivation comes from trying to understand what you want to do, where you want to do it, and why you want to do it. I love taking photos, and that has never changed. Even before I was into YouTube, I just love taking photos. So that's where my motivation comes from, sharing those stories and creating frames that I feel are inspiring, to me at least. That's where my motivation comes from. Also, if you're low energy, try to find practices like yoga, breath work that can help you bring up your energy. It's not about food, it's not about sleep sometimes just about having those practices. It's a little hectic. Let's go in a quiet place to talk about money. So if you actually ask, how do I make money? How do I get to travel so much? And I think that was a really good question because, as you said, you see me travel to those places. How do I afford it? Well, it's part of my business, right? I'm a photographer, I create images, and for that I need to go to places, or I want to go to certain places for certain type of imagery. Now, here are the different streams of income that I have. I have several. First of all, I'm gonna have YouTube ads, which is fairly small, if I'm very honest. I don't grant like billions of views like some do, so it's fairly small. Second, we're gonna have a few affiliate links, that's fairly small too. Bigger sponsorships, people who want to sponsor a video like White Wall or Wirestock, for example. Then 4, creating content for other brands and also posting it on my channel, like Adobe or even Sony Xperia, who wanted me to create videos and post them as Reel also. So it's great in that sense because it actually combines me as a photographer creating videos and at the same time also posting it, meaning reaching the audience that I have. This is one of the many income streams. And then I have my own product, which I think are very important for anyone to rely on your own products so you're not always hooked up on someone else's business. And that is through the tools that I share for photographers, like the presets, and also the course, the 30-day advanced course to great photo, which is such an excellent tool for progressing, in my opinion, if you're trying to take things to the next level. Over 30 days with a very structured way, it has helped so many students around the world, and I think it's a great product. And last but not least is going to be prints. I share and sell prints. Those are still like under the radar a little bit, meaning I do it one-on-one. And I will very soon have set up something proper on the website where you guys can order prints. So all those different income streams allow me to make a living and also travel, because those travels will be expenses in the business. And nowadays it's all about having different income streams so that you cover your bases, even if you have issues coming with one of your income stream line that gets cut off, you can do others. For example, before I had the workshops that I was doing, one-day workshops, but ever since COVID, obviously I haven't done as many. So yeah, that's for the money part. Now, still have a few interesting questions here. Okay, Les Balades de Steph is asking café, coffee, black or milk. I don't drink coffee, so it's gonna be tea and hot chocolate. No sugar, 100% pure hot chocolate with hot water and maybe coconut milk or almond milk. That's literally the best right now. I'm going up to the top of the building. We're gonna see Tokyo from the sky, so get ready. Great question from Cedric, who's asking, what would make me stop photography and YouTube? Oof. Honestly, YouTube a lot. Photography, nothing. Nothing would make me stop. I will always keep shooting, honestly, and take photos. Photography has always been with me before YouTube, and it will always be with me after it. So that's one very important point. Now, what would make me stop YouTube? Honestly, if YouTube changed so much that I would not be able to keep up or understand it, and I didn't like the way or the direction it was going, and I felt completely drained, and then maybe I would just like stop. Or I felt like I had zero things to add there, which would be possible or to share. That's I think would kind of kill me for YouTube.
Follow me, don't lose me.
We made it to the top, guys, and we've got Mystic Trip asking, what is your favorite non-photography YouTube channel? I don't have a dedicated. I always love Casey Neistat, but also Kurzgesagt has really good videos that are super short, obviously, but try to pack a lot of information. I love those, like wide variety of topics. And then Mohammed Dance 030 is asking, will photography die in the future? How long will we be taking photos from cameras? That's a good question, because I can imagine in the future with the Neuralink implants, you will be taking photos actually with your brain straight, if that makes any sense. So you'll be looking at things, maybe blinking and taking photos just like that. You might not need a camera anymore. And that sounds slightly scary, but could be also cool. Imagine autofocusing. I don't know how it's gonna work, guys, but I just think it's possible. The other thing is AI is gonna just get better with your camera, so you might have a better integration of where you want to focus and how you want your photos to look straight with your camera and how you're shooting. Let's say you're looking at a subject through the viewfinder and the camera directly focuses there. That's a possibility. Let me know actually, what do you guys think? What's gonna be the future? And then Kitai Travels is asking a pretty hard question actually, which is, why do you think you get less views on YouTube than you used to? Great question. I've noticed, and every single photographer YouTuber that I know also noticed, that there has been a change about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and we've been kind of affected. I think more people are turning to short form content versus long form content. So the previous audience will still watch long form, but maybe some of the new ones will prefer short form. I'm not exactly sure, honestly. I don't have the perfect answer, but that was a theory. And also there's been a lot more photography channel that came up. Maybe you guys can let me know which ones are your favorite that came up on YouTube ever since I started. So when we were just a few, now there's many. So that's also a possibility. Last question, guys, is gonna be from Thomas asking, how do you handle being far from your family very frequently? Well, I'm not that frequently far from them. I try to take them as much as possible with me and combine that. But honestly, when I'm on 2-week trip, it's not that bad. And I try to reduce them and combine maybe 4 or 5 big important trips in a year, and then make it maybe a weekend trip for the rest and spend as much of quality time the rest of the time. I think the quality of the time you spend together with your family is more important than the quantity. An easy example is like, let's say you work 8 hours a day, you're outside of your home, you come home, but you watch TV, you don't even spend time with your kids. That's also what could be happening. But I honestly try to spend very much quality dedicated time with my wife and family whenever possible. Now work does take a lot of chunk in it, but I'm trying. The balance is hard, but I'm trying my best. And one of you is asking, how do you get in touch with other photographers to go shoot? Honestly, go poke people on Instagram, send them DMs, and try to find people who are not too big, small audiences that will respond in your town. Look at the hashtags, and this might help you find your little community, your little niche, which will help you tremendously to actually get out there and shoot more and really push yourself as a photographer. In the 30-day adventure to great photos, also we have a good amount of people who actually come together, meet up, and take photos together. So that's a little group. Maybe you can join the next train if you want to push your photography to the next level. But honestly, the best way is really nowadays Instagram, Facebook groups, and maybe local photography groups if you can find them, if they exist. If you can find a few friends to do that, or maybe motivate your friends to get there. Take photos of models, find models if you can find photographers, like trying to find synergy with different people. Now with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go take some photos. I think I want to enjoy that view. Look at this. This is pretty crazy. When top of Tokyo. I'll see you in the next episode. Remember, get out there, go shoot, try something different, try something new. Whoosh.